Something I can speak of, like a recent fire it's fresh in my mind. Last year here in our district, we had the Aspen Fire here on the Sierra National Forest. We had monsoons come through, and I think within one day, we had I think it was 18 strikes from one afternoon. And the Aspen Fire was in the San Joaquin River drainage. We know already that that's a bad era. We had, past fire history, the Bay Creek Fire that was back in, I believe, 94, 92. I forgot. But in the back of my head, we were chasing these other little lightning fires, just small, type 5, little, eighth of an acre size fires. But I knew sooner or later, being that it was our backyard, we were going to have to address this fire at some time. So the next morning, that became our task. And just knowing where it's at in the back of my head is like, it's not good overall, just on this location, the access, and just knowing what the winds do up that canyon. Normal diurnal winds, your up canyon flow from the heating of the valley, and then vice versa, the cooling from the night. So we went down, flew in. It was myself with my superintendent, who was acting ICT3 at the time. Tried making access. Another crew captain flew with us from the forest, and this fire was hard to get into. It was humid down in there at the river bottom. We found access in after fighting it, and I think by the time we got to the fire, we already knew that we were just going to try and take a look so that we can go back with some ammo and be able to say, look, this is what we got to. It's poor access, you look at the 10s and 18s, broken ground, in country not seen in daylight, and, just terrain, and, makes your escape routes very, very difficult. No adequate safety zones either. And the fire was probably 3 acres to 5 acres at this time. Just about 12 o'clock or so, 1 o'clock, the ceiling lifted, the inversion lifted, and within a matter of 10 minutes, the fire just came alive. Air Attack started calling out spots. It was spotting, a quarter mile ahead of itself. And by then, we were, working our way down the hill, and we knew, we were going to have to back off and start looking big picture, because there's no adequate roads. Access was poor, so within, I think, that second day shift, well, it was our first shift on the fire, but the second day of the fire, it was well over 300 acres, and it was just moving, and we ended up flying back out, trying to go back in and pick up where it blown over a road already, and tried securing the slop over, but that was working through the night. It was like first initial attack type deal. By the time the second shift came around, daylight got on, it got hot and dry again, and the fire just kept pushing. So, but it had been, at least 20 years since the fire had burned in there again, so it was ready to do its thing again. But ideally, a month later, we're still on the fire, and we're on mop-up stages, rehabbing the fire, but, even looking back to the question that was asked before, fire's role, on the forest, it did a lot of good, regardless of, it may kill some trees, but overall it did a lot of good. Looking at all the reports that were done post fire, did a lot of regeneration. It's really good for the forest. Good for the ecosystem and the habitat, definitely.